Hi, I'm Josh, and this is Kerbal Space Program, a game where you put these little green men, frogmen, Kerbals, into space, or try to without crashing. Here's an example of crashing. I'm going to start a new game. I have already tried to do this on YouTube, make a video series and put it on YouTube once before, but there were some audio recording issues and I didn't feel energetic enough. Now, I know there's a time and a place for playthroughs that are a little more cerebral, and I certainly intend to do them at some point, but this is the start, and at the start I want to be energetic and happy, because that's how I generally am, and that's the quality I think, oh, I might actually be fun for people to watch. No sense putting a half-asleep, sleep-deprived, one's the cause of the other, Josh on YouTube, because that misses the entire point of making people happy, or trying to. Anyway, to business. I want to make a new game, so I'm going to make this game Josh McYouTube. That's, of course, not my real name. My real name doesn't even start with Muck, but that's a really cool, what's it called again? The thing you put before a word? Prefix! It's a really cool prefix. But I don't have that prefix. Oh well. This is my name, though. Josh. So, hi, I'm Josh. I think that's the intro I'm going to be making for all of my videos. This is going to be my first video. Excuse the crappy channel art, but it's something I flim-flam together in 10 minutes. It's pretty, I like it. It's adorable, but not much else. Okay, I'm going to mess a bit with the settings. I do occasionally quick load and quick save, because this game is still in alpha, almost beta, and it's still a bit buggy, so I'm gonna have to give myself that mercy. No sense playing either game where even the settings can kill you. I have enough of that with DayZ. If you want, I can do some DayZ, but point is, I'm gonna switch off missing crew respawn, because if someone dies, I want it to be significant. If I really messed up and something is my fault and I messed up, then that's the end of that. I'm not going to auto-hire crew members before a flight. If I screw that up as well, I'm going to have to fix that myself. No entry purchase required on research. That's old school, but I do like the idea of actually having to pay factories for setting up the the machinery to make your your engines or capsules or whatever. Oh, I forgot to explain what this game involves, other than sending Kerbals to other worlds. These Kerbals, they're space explorers. Well, this group of them anyway. It's their space program, and you need to Lego together rockets. Of course, you have to research and buy parts in career mode anyway. So you need to also buy manufacturing licenses, basically, in the science panel, unless you check this, which I'm not going to do. I'm also not going to check indestructible facilities, because seeing the base buildings blow up is sometimes kind of fun. Stock vessels are like blueprints for vessels that may or may not work. I don't know about that. Let's see here. Starting funds 25 is good enough for me. I'm going to put everything else at 100%, because I suppose that's how things are tuned, right? So, this is going to be my name, my sigil, my flag is going to be the retro flag. I'm actually going to close my window, because I opened it for some air, but I think I might be disturbing the neighborhood with all my yapping. So yeah, let's put it on filter some air in mode. That way it keeps most of the noise out. Yeah, I could have cut that out, but I like that kind of little human touch, because as I said, otherwise where'd be the fun? You might as well play Kerbal Space Program yourself. Of course, I do have some experience with the game. Don't expect me to have any knowledge of what I can do past Duna, which is the local Mars analog. Okay, this is your space base. You have your vehicle assembly building, you have your, I think that's your recruitment center, you have your science facilities, you have your tracking stations. They all have functions on their own. And this is your PR building, I think, which you can use to exchange science, money, and reputation. If your reputation falls too low, that's bad. If you don't have any science, you can't develop new parts, but that's not the end of the world. If you don't have any money, you can't build new rockets. That is also the end of the world. Okay, we don't have any science to research yet, but we can go over the parts we already have. And this looks like a giant blueprint, and this is the science progression system. You can start by buying some extra parts for 5 science, but we start out with something really, really simple, which we will need to gather 5 science with. We have the Command Pod Mark 1, your basic, you know, Soyuz and, what's it called again, Mercury program pod, which has some inbuilt things like a reaction wheel, a flywheel, which is powered by electricity. It has inborn stabilization. It can hold 1 crew to do science with, and, you know, run around with. You have the LV-30 liquid fuel engine, which is really powerful, but it can't be gimbaled. It can't move its thrust around anyway. So the problem with that one is that it does not allow you to control your spacecraft going upward. You need LV-45s for that, which are slightly less powerful, but overall make up for it with a little bit of gimbal range. There's also the solid fuel booster, the RT-10, which I am going to use on my first rocket. The solid fuel booster is usually used to strap on to add some thrust. But right now, this is going to be base of my rocket together with the Command Pod Mark 1. I don't want to do anything other than get into the upper atmosphere, and I can't tune the rate of thrust for this thing, but as it says, the engine cannot be shut down once it's powered, so it might go catastrophically wrong, but the odds of that are not very high. There's also the T200 fuel tank, which is a liquid fuel tank. Liquid fuel is going to be the bread and butter of your rockets, as long as you, from the start of this point in the technology tree. There's no real point in using the expensive tunable rocket when you can just set the first single stage rocket to a certain amount, like 50%, maybe slightly less than 50% thrust, and, well, just get your science, your initial science done cheaply and well. There's also this modular girder segment, which you can use to tuck in your Mystery Goose science pod, but that's for later. There's a Communitron antenna, which you can use to send science back home, but you do need electricity for that, and we don't have any solar panels yet. They're all the way over there somewhere. And finally, the parachute, which does what it says on the box, but you do need to be careful to stage it apart from your engine, because if you press the button to go and activate your engine, and the parachute fires at the same time, you're going to do cartwheels into the launch pad, and that's going to be the death of your first astronaut, the destruction of your launch pad, and some nice equipment. So that's going to be bad. And I'm not saying that's happened to me before, but that might have happened to me before. Not in this playthrough, though, because I haven't shown it to you. I'm not going to be hiding stuff, which might prove to my detriment, because it might be a little bit embarrassing, but we'll see how it goes. I haven't shown you the other buildings yet, but they will come in time, I suppose. I might not do anything with the BR building, because I like having a lot of reputation. Like I said, it may be wise to stage these things far apart, so you first fire the thruster, the solid fuel booster, and then you fire the parachute so you can come down safely. Okay, we're going to toggle... No, we're not going to toggle the flag. There's no point to that. Okay, what we are going to do is we're going to limit the thrust to 50%. As I said, that's going to be more than enough to get us up into the sky without the atmosphere providing too much resistance. Because if you, like, thrust against atmospheric resistance, you're not going to get very far. There's, it basically puts a hard limit on how fast you can go, and if you try and pass that hard limit, that requires a lot of power. So this is good enough for me. It's not perfect, but I'd rather not spend a half an hour fiddling with it right now. That's all we got. I'm going to call this thing the appropriate name. I might as well have been playing Warlords of Draenor a lot. Marad 1. Marad 1. Tier 4 shoulder pads, which are really good shoulder pads, are the most beautiful shoulder pads on Draenei, which are a Warcraft species, in the entire game. And Marad wears them, and I wear them, so we have a bit of a kinship there. A lot of people just scathingly call me Marad because I dress like him, but I made it cool first. Well, actually not true, but never mind, that's details. Let's see. Do I have... Why not? I'm going to tie the crew report, as in the science you can do with the command pods, to the 1 key. Excuse my sniffles. I suppose that's the cold air. I'm going to save it one more time, and I'm going to launch. If I've missed something, so be it. I think this will do. I'm going to do some science with the Marad 1 once it's... when it's standing on the launch pad, like here. You record the crew's assessment of the situation. Okay, we have not taken off yet. I'm bored. Let's go. Okay. Okay, Jebediah, you're gonna get out of here for a second, and you are gonna do an EVA report. EVA report while, air quotes, flying over Kerbal shores. This is a most precarious situation. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm also going to take this data away from the command pod and then store it back into the command pod. That way it does not take up the slot for a crew report. That way I can do a crew report when in the air and high up in the air. I'm actually better off just doing it in the upper atmosphere, and then once we're safely going down with the parachute, I can do a crew report while flying just over the shores. Yes. I suppose that'll work. I'm gonna... one thing I want to do first is go to the Space Center. I still have this thing in flight. So I'm just gonna go to the Space Center while this thing's standing on the launch pad. And I'm gonna go... Yes, I know. I'm gonna go here. And I am gonna take these contracts. This is a contract to launch a new vessel, which is gonna give me some money. Setting an altitude record of 5,000 meters is also gonna give me some money. Escaping the atmosphere is not gonna happen today, but that is my goal, so I'm going to accept that contract because it doesn't have an expiration date, and orbiting Kerbal, same thing. Don't make me regret this. So, we're going to go and fly the Murad 1. Just going to check if the staging is figured correctly. Yes, it is. I don't know if the impulse is correctly set up, but we'll see how it goes. And fire! Keeping it cool and happy. Okay, we already completed one contract by successfully lifting off. And discard. Good. Because we got the money, we got the rep. And, well, we go upward. The risk you can take, the catastrophic risks you can take, I am not exaggerating when I say you can crash and you can lose money, and basically on creative mode, on sandbox mode, it can be sometimes hilarious. But that's not what I'm doing here. I do want to make a successful space program with this series, so I am going to try and do my best here. Solid fuel is ticking down. We are not yet in the upper atmosphere. The upper atmosphere starts at around, what, 10,000, 13,000 feet? I don't know. But I think once we hit the dark blue section of the altimeter, we're going to be golden. I do want my Kerbal to step outside just for 1 second. And that might prove to my detriment, so I'm going to wait until this thing levels out. I'm going to do a report of the upper atmosphere first. Worst comes to worst, I'm going to have to chase the capsule back down. I might get rid of my Kerbal this way, and this is Jebediah Kerman. He's well known for having the badass flag in the config file, which means he's generally not panicking, unlike most other Kerbals, when you lift off. Okay, our surface velocity is nice, but let's see how slow we can get it. 200. We're already going really high. That's great. I don't think we're going to be able to escape I don't think we're going to be able to escape the atmosphere with a 5,000 meters. Excellent. I don't think we're going to be able to escape the atmosphere with a rocket this simple, though. But that wasn't the intent either. This was just a probing mission, an exploratory mission. Oh, you can have AI-controlled probes, but you better make sure they have solar panels and other ways to maintain electricity, otherwise they're going to go dark. 32, 31, 25, 15, 13, 40. Yeah, okay, this is where we go. EVA report, down. Yeah, upper atmosphere. Take data. Hubris. Okay, as soon as we get back down past, I don't know, past a certain altitude, we can do another crew report. But we got up to 32 kilometers, which is incredible. Kilometers, I don't remember them. I think it's 3 kilometers is 2 miles. I'm not entirely sure. But that's still quite a bit. And now we are slowly descending. I could make it slightly less slow by time accelerating, but that's not that's not exactly the safest thing. Still, we are doing a video here, so I might as well. Okay, we are probably in the lower atmosphere by now, and I thankfully standing on the railing while landed is also, quote, the lower atmosphere, so that's not a problem at all. Now, is this review report flying over Kerbal shores? Exactly. EVA report flying over Kerbal shores. I already got that while I was landed at the while I was not well, I had not yet taken off at the launch pad. Oh boy, I'm tripping over my words here. Yeah, this is probably going to be at the end of the video as soon as I as soon as I land, or perhaps air quotes land, because I'm pretty sure that the solid rocket booster is not going to survive the descent. How do I know this? Because this is a standard maneuver for doing your first mission, and I have, I wouldn't say fucked it up, but I've done this successfully a lot of times, and none of those times the solid rocket booster survived. It's very, very cheap, though, so it's not a problem. It's basically a metal trash bin full of confetti. That's at least how it's described. Well, confetti. I'd sooner call it thermite, but we'll see. Thermite's the best confetti, if you don't have any wish to live. Okay, boom, as I said, thermite confetti, and we are landed. I'm going to do an EVA, I'm going to do the storage trick again, and I'm going to do one more crew report for the Kerbal Space Center. Yay, we're home, indeed. Now this thing's not going to go very far. I can try and like roll it over to the next area, but I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to take a surface sample here and do an EVA report. Now if I wanted, I could plant a flag here for the first successful mission, but that would be kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous game, but no point adding to the ridiculousness. Actually, there's a really good point in adding to the ridiculousness in that I am going to go and run all the way over there. Now I'm going to speed up time, and I might even do a cut if I wanted to gather signs from these other buildings, which I might, because you're going to have to go back and forth. But it is going to provide me with an extra bit of science, so I might just cut the video here. Just give me a sec here. Am I going to do? Oh, slow down time. We don't want Jebediah to die from time dilation. Oh, that. In this version of KSP, the Kerbals are immortal. Well, immortal until they die violent deaths. Biologically immortal, I think that's what it's called. But there are mods which you can get to make your Kerbals require food, water, and air, and electricity to stay warm, and, you know, catalyze the air and that kind of thing. So, catalyze? I don't know what it's called, electrolyzation or something like that, to create more air. But the point is, your Kerbals will have a life support and fuel supplies, which are going to be expended over time, which means these shenanigans are going to be impossible if you have that thing set up. But this is the, the Reputation Center has their own little science pod, has their own little, science biome, lack of a better word, has their own little region of science, which is unique, and the more every unique region of science can be sampled, and if you sample the same region of science twice, you get either nothing or vastly reduced science. So I'm going to sample everything once. Now, is this the Science Center? Oh, whoa, that was not supposed to happen. This is the kind of thing you quick load and quick save for. Now, can I get out from under here? Yes, you can. Good. Now, I'm going to do this normal time. Okay, that worked. Thankfully. Time Warp does have its glitches. I'm going to see if I'm going to take it from R&D Center. Yes, this is the science buildings. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? Now, you get this smart-ass report every single time you do science on this planet, which is extremely annoying. Now, there are mods that give you more interesting science reports on this planet, and there are also mods that remove the space helmet from a Kerbal on his home planet, which is wonderful. I gotta say, these bastards are really adorable. So that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to do the rest of this, up to and including the launch building, the aircraft hangar, and the launch pad itself, and maybe the airstrip. And I'm going to show you if I see a nice building or something like that. Now, I do know there's a swimming pool at the PR center, but I think I'm just going to walk right past it. Yes, I am. So I'm just going to cut the video here. I'm going to store this, etc., just to hamster up some more science and make the next few flights. Yep, this is the administration's building, aka the PR center, and it has its own swimming pool. Which I'm wondering if I can swim in there and get a water sample from there. That'd be really cool to find out. If I just walk through the water, then it means no. But if I can swim... Oh, that was not supposed to happen, I think. Yeah, that's not properly set up. And it turns out... Ooh, can I do this? Can I get out from here? Yes, I can. Now, these kinds of bits of nonsense are what I quick save and quick load for, not anything else. So we're going to be moving on to here, which is going to be the recruitment center. It has this beautiful flagpole, which I think you can climb up. I'm not sure. There used to be the old Space Center, because this game's obviously gone through quite a few iterations. Yeah, Astronaut Complex. This is a recruitment center, basically. I call it that. I basically give it all its own name. Now, does this... on this thing... No. I think you can land small spacecraft on top of that thing, which we are probably going to do at some point. Yeah, and now we're going to go back and go to the next place, so I'm going to cut it again. And we are coming up to the aircraft hangar. Now, the people playing Kerbal Space Program have a saying, space is hard, and that's a bit of a reductive way of saying that. Kerbal Space Program can be fiendishly difficult, though immensely fun at times. Gotta say, the new and improved, relatively modern Space Center looks absolutely gorgeous. But the point is, this is the airplane hangar, and I think, well, as humans, we invented flight before we went into space. And seeing as the prominence of the space shuttle in the recent years, you'd think, well, you might be better off building an airplane before a rocket. Oh, no, that's not true. Rockets go straight up. They're simple. And you only need to go in different directions from straight up when you're starting to get into orbit. Space planes need to be balanced and sensible and that kind of thing. All you need for rockets is symmetry. Space planes, you need to work on, well, even regular planes, you need to work on all sorts of different stability, even in the regular game. There's also a lot of add-ons which make flight in the atmospheres of the planets which have atmospheres, and even Kerbal itself, a lot more fun of an affair, and make space planes, as in planes that get into space, actually viable. Am I recording this? I don't know. I'm actually going to check. This is one of those cutesy moments. Okay, I'm back, and we have good news and we have bad news. Now, the good news is, I was recording, and I'm once again recording. The bad news is, I heard this shrill shriek when I was talking about space planes, and I have no idea where it's coming from. I'm terribly sorry for those of you who have actually heard it on YouTube. I am not skilled enough to polish those things away yet. If it happens again, I'm going to investigate. But for now, I'm going to take a surface sample and an EVA report from the spaceplane hangar. And quick save. It might be the quick saves causing the strange things. And now I'm going to cut the video again. Yay! Be right back. And we are coming up on the runway. Now, it bears mentioning that gathering up all this science is entirely unnecessary and superfluous on most playthroughs, but I just want to bootstrap my way up as high as possible as soon as possible. So we're going to take a surface sample. Oh, look! The surface appears to be very hard, like concrete. It might actually be concrete. Could be a very good surface to land at. Yes, yes, it might be, yes. Yeah, same EVA report as always. I'm actually going to see if I can't review the not EVA report, surface samples of the other areas and see if there's any chucklers, any funny bits in there. But I think that most of them are just going to be the scientists always complain that we get dirt in our boots, or something like that. Oh, this surface appears to be dirt. Same material, but the scientists always complain about when we walk into their labs, or something like that. I don't know. It's witty when you read it. Whatever. We've already almost come up to our capsule, but I'm going to cut it anyway. I will be seeing you at the vehicle assembly building, the big tower for building rockets at. See, this is what I meant. This substance is what makes the scientists yell at us when we go into the labs without cleaning our boots first. It's a surface sample from KSC. Just look, this place really is gorgeous. But, yeah, the other surface samples are as bland and generic as you would expect. Yeah, we're going to come up on this thing. I did have something to say just now. Yeah, I could theoretically go and run all across the planet, but if you will excuse me, I won't be doing that today, because that would be too time-consuming for me and actually not very fun gameplay. I would rather unlock all of that when I have some more scientific equipment, which requires science to unlock, which is why I'm doing this now. Yeah, at some point in time, I'm going to actually fly around the entire planet, maybe with a rocket with a specialized lander, with lots of parachutes, of course, or with a space plane, or just a normal plane that doesn't go space. But at higher altitudes, your cruising speed's a lot higher. Okay, take a surface sample from the vehicle assembly building and an EVA report, and they are both relatively bland, so we are moving on. Who's that, a monument? This looks to be a monument to something or other. Well, let's have a look. Rest in peace, Mark I pod, 2011-2012. That's cute. That was the original Alpha pod, I suppose. Three pilots, three Kerbal piloted pod. Well, piloted. You were the one who pilots it. But the Kerbal were Jebediah, who we have in front of us. Well, not in front of us, but who we have with us here. The eternally brave and optimistic young Kerbal. He's a bit of an ace pilot. Fan lore is it that he is a test pilot, and he has the, as I said, he's got relatively average stats, but he has the badass flag in his config file, which means he generally responds far more optimistically to circumstances, and he's only really going to scream when death is completely inevitable. We have also got Bill and Bob Kerbal. They're relatively interchangeable, but one is very smart and one is very foolish, and they're both not exactly all that brave. So their job is generally to sit at both sides of Jeb, and in flight they're going to scream, and one of the two is actually relatively useful when doing science in mods, and the other is not. The other is absolute fodder, but he makes a good backup to Jeb when he's indisposed, doing really dangerous things. It's not like Kerbals are very bright at all. They're really cute, and they really like snacks. Of course, it's unfair to discount their space program as nothing but explosions, but the comedy is a bit of Three Stooges kind of physical humor, and smart-ass remarks regarding snacks, which is at times hilarious and at times bland, but also easy to ignore. So that's actually a really good and tasteful choice, along with the Lego style of everything here. It's got incredible depth, this game, but it's also very, very easy to get into. So I love that. We're going to be cutting it until we get past this building. Right, we're coming up on the contracts building. It has a stairway. Most of these buildings have stairways, which means you can actually walk up them. I'm not going to do that for reasons of brevity. After this, we have two more places to go: the launch pad, which has a really fun thing, and the tracking station, which I have not yet visited. So we're going to take a surface sample from Mission Control, and an EVA report from Mission Control. Now, it's really weird that administration is called administration and Mission Control is called Mission Control. But because Mission Control generally has the administrative work of the contracts, and administration tends to be a place where you trade things. I'd call that PR office, actually. But it probably has good reasons for being called what it's called. I'm going to go back to the pod now. See ya. I'm going to take a brief jaunt through the R&D building, and I gotta say this like bridge-like area building makes it really look like one of those modern-day scientific universities. It's really beautiful in its own way. Seeing the science buildings from a Kerbal's perspective is... I've never done this before. It's really cool. I like it. There's a helipad on top of the vehicle assembly building. Yeah, if you strike any of these buildings a little bit too hard, they will explode and fall into ruin. And I don't know if you need to pay money to get them fixed up, but if not, there's probably a mod to do that. And we are slowly, but ooh, is that Minmus? Yes. We are slowly and surely coming up on the tracking station, and it is appropriate for me to spot Minmus, which is the second and very small moon of Kerbal. It looks like an icy desert, and it is inexplicably cold compared to the relatively temperate Kerbal. It could be that the atmosphere of Kerbal keeps things relatively above zero, while Minmus, the tiny, tiny ball of ice, does not have an atmosphere at all. It's probably a captured comet or something like that. It's got flat surfaces of ice combined with enormous hills, but considering the fact that it has relatively nil gravity, the same gravity as Kerbal has with the zero gravity cheat, then it's really easy to land spaceships on as long as you can get there, which is also not too difficult. Okay, we're going to take a surface sample from the tracking station and EVA report, and it's equally bland, so I'm going to be seeing you when I hit the final area of our grand tour, the place we started off, the launch pad. I keep having trouble with that word. Well, it's actually getting dark. Goodbye, pod. I will be seeing you when the scientists haul you in. The red light of dawn. The Kerbal systems are actually really cool. It doesn't have a Saturn analog, Uranus analog, or a Neptune analog. I don't know if I mixed those two up, but whatever. The order isn't important. It does have a Jupiter analog with 5 beautiful moons. One of them has a atmosphere and it's almost habitable, but not quite. And it does have pretty much every other major planet in the system, as well as Pluto. Well, it might have been demoted from planet status. It is, and has been, a relatively prominent part of our education, and it may be a boring ball of ice, but it's really far away, and that makes it very, very cool. It's basically the moon, but very far away and made of ice. Well, not made of, but you know. The Pluto analog of Kerbal Space Program does not have a little bit of a moon on it of its own, but that's not a problem because it's, like I said, a ball of ice at the edge of the solar system, and it could be a beautiful outpost. Yeah, I intend when I have mods, or when I have basically conquered the solar system, most of it, to make a very nice, beautiful base a jewel, because it has a tremendous gravity well and a lot of moons which you can use to slingshot. And it's also got a magnetosphere, which you can use in Interstellar Space Program to harvest a lot of antimatter, which is, of course, the ultimate fuel in real life as well, as far as we can tell. But yeah, that's basically going to be my end game at some point, to build a beautiful little Jupiter station. Star Trek reference there. Okay, the reason I actually didn't go up this launch pad when I was lifting off is because, well, I'd have to jump down from the rocket, and there would be no way I would be getting back up there without little ladders or a big ladder, and those not only unbalance the spaceship and cost a little bit of money. I don't have that unlocked yet, and the way you unlock that is by doing science. So I'm going to do an EVA report from here, and it's going to be bland, but I'm also going to take a surface sample, which is going to be chilling. Quote, the surface is charred and coated with burnt rocket propellant. Okay, that's us taking off. There are also trace amounts of conspicuous green substance. Now, I don't know who used this platform before us, but I think they had a lot of screw-ups. Ah, well, let's not add to that. And, oh, we don't need to run away again, because we can just recover, quote, vessel, recover Jebediah. Yeah, we can dispatch a nice little recovery crew and pick Jebediah up and give him a nice cup of hot cocoa. Our science here is a surface sample and an EVA report, both from the launch pad. Which gives us 11.4 science, 16 science total. And we got Jeb back. And we can now also recover Marad 1. And that's going to give us a lot of science. Now we got 145 science, which is more than enough to unlock some initial stuff. We also get most of the value for the command pod and the parachute back, because we can refurbish them, and the monopropellant that was in the pod. I should have removed that, because that's a little bit of weight, a little bit of money. Ah well, that's 1,002 pieces of monies. I don't know what they're called. Kerbucks, I suppose. Yeah, I'm gonna cut the video here and save the game, and then tomorrow, or whenever, we're gonna do some, something with this science that we got, and 145 is quite a bit in the early game, so I'm hoping we can unlock some more basic science to basically bootstrap ourselves up to interstellar levels of technology. Not Interstellar the movie, but, you know,